mushroom fans, it's Jewel here. I'm actually coming to you from my home today, so no peek into my grow room. This is actually my second time. I'm trying to do this in like one shot so I don't have to do any edits or anything like that, which I know is weird for me. So I actually wrote down some things. The reason I'm doing it here is I needed to collect my thoughts. I just had a really crappy day over at the fungi house, and I wanted to kind of like spit it all out at you guys while it's like fresh to let you know some things that when all hell breaks loose and something goes wrong, this is what it feels like. All right, I'm really gonna try not to go like off topic because y'all know how I get. Let me have some of this Kim Crawford Sauvignon Blanc. Hold on. All right, I'm good. All right, try to stay on track. So the theme of this should be the butterfly effect. If you change one thing, it'll then change a whole sequence of other things. And if you change more than one thing, I mean forget about it. When I go into my grow room, when I go to work every day, the very first thing that I do is I peep my head. I have two grows. I peep my head in the first grow and I look on the humidistat up on the wall and I want to make sure it's between 88 and 92%. Those are my parameters that I have it turn off and cut on at, right? 88 to 92. That's the first thing I look at. If that's good, everything else can wait. I go in the other grow, do the same thing. Well, today my big grow, I go in and it's like 68, 70% humidity. I'm like, what happened, right? So immediately I'm in like panic mode because even though I harvest every day, my chefs, I sell mostly to restaurants. No, all to restaurants. What am I kidding? All to restaurants. So they order tonight for this week coming up, right? So everything's got to be perfect, whatever, like today. And I was gonna do like the last little bit of harvesting. Like I'm like waiting for everything, get some weight on it that hadn't, before I harvest it. So I'm like, oh my God, it's 7. Things are gonna be dry as. So I go in and it's a hot mess up in there, like hot mess. There's a couple things that I changed. Should have just changed one, but I had a lot going on. I changed 3 things. The first thing, this is what today's video was supposed to be on, is fans. Try to stay on like focus, Jewel. Eric Myers posted a video today about hurricane fans, saying that they're the best fans for mushroom growing. I like hurricane fans. I use hurricane fans. I have 2 in my small grow and probably 5 or 6, I should have counted, 5 or 6 in my big grow. That's my problem. I had too many hurricane fans and they were driving me nuts. And just like he said, they can crap out or whatever. I did not do, he's always told me, do the little, I don't know, whatever that is with the goop that he put on there to, I don't have time for all that. So I never did that. But I have had one already crap out and they're only, let's see, they got set up in late November, maybe early December actually. So not even, about 3 months it lasted. So anyways, so the first thing that I changed, I'm like, I've got all these wires for all these different fans. The reason I changed my fan, I still kept the hurricane fans that I have, but I needed something stronger. The reason being, I have a square grow. Eric's is a rectangle, right? I have square, and I have blocks on both sides. Although I did see that he's got blocks on both sides as well now. He used to only have blocks growing on one side. Regardless, I was noticing when I first come in my door, anytime I put oysters to the left of the door, and when I walk in, they were very leggy. If you have leggy oyster mushrooms, that means there's not enough fresh air exchange. There's not enough air going on. Now, I've got a good thing going with my my exhaust fan. My exhaust fan's good. I have it up. Everything else is fine. Oyster mushrooms in the whole grow, as a whole, totally fine. They're fabulous. It's this one spot. It's like a dead zone. There's like no airflow. I've got all these fans. They're blowing. I got the whole turbidity situation happening, except for in this one little corner. And I need to use sometimes every bit of space. So what I did, I was like, screw buying another hurricane fan. It's obviously not enough. So I bought another fan. I'll show it later. I don't have time today. But it's much bigger, it's louder, but it's bigger, it blows more. It doesn't do that cone, it does more straight, but I got it, and I'm really happy. And I know that it will help out that legginess problem. So I got that. So it is going to help with that one problem. It's just going to circulate the air more airflow. That'll help with the legginess of those blocks. So that was the first thing I changed. Looking at my notes so I stay on point. So the second change was those shiitake blocks. I can't even remember now if I talked about shiitake. I have 20 shiitake blocks that I just put in there on Valentine's Day. I've never had shiitake in the large grow. I've only grown shiitake in the small grow. The small grow is much easier to get that humidity really high. Like I can have it on like 92%, 93%, and just run it like that. And it's small, so it's like it can be really fogged out, which kings and especially shiitake really like that. So that's normally what I've been growing in there. Never grew it in the big one. For space, I have shiitake. It's like full of shiitake right now in that small one, but I had extra, so I had to put those into the big grow. I was like, whatever, it's not the big deal. I'll put some shiitake here. I was actually thinking that the shiitake would be better in the big grow because I have these bars set up, and that's where they are. I wish I had a picture, but the people that have, and Eric has like similar. I kind of stole my model from him. Just bars for racks instead of shelving, and anyways, I thought that it would be good. So that's the second thing. I put shiitake in there, and I got this new fan. The third thing, temperature. So I have had my temperature, even though it's winter and it's been cold, I had my air conditioning on set as low as it could. The reason being, Tuesday and Wednesday, so like 2 days and 3 days from now, it's going to be in the 70s here. I don't know why, but it is. So I decided I'm going to cut off all the heat to the place and put the air conditioning on so that it kicks on if it gets above, I don't know, it's set to like 60. That's the lowest I can turn my air conditioning on. It's like 60 degrees or something. So even though it's way colder outside, it just, it warms up. I have a lot of windows, whatever. So I was trying to get it cold preemptively so that it doesn't heat up a lot in a couple of days. I changed it though yesterday because I have these oyster mushrooms, these oyster blocks that are in there and they're not pinning. And they haven't been in there forever, but they weren't pinning because there wasn't enough temperature change. With oyster mushrooms, you need a temperature change for it to pin. 5, 10 degrees even better. So usually what I would do is increase the temperature by like 10 degrees and then drop it back down to where it should be, right? The best way to do that is before you keep your grow, call it constant, right? Before you put some new blocks in there, what you do is you take it into a room, or better yet, the incubation room should already be like warmer, and then you put it into that cooler grow, right? Or if it's all the same temperature, take them into a room, roll a rack with your blocks on them into another room, put them, a space heater in there just for a day, jack up the temperature, and then throw it in that cold grow, and that'll help it to pin like much quicker. I don't have enough mushrooms for next week. And so I'm like, shoot, I need these things pinning like yesterday. So that's why I was like, okay, I don't have time. The blocks are already in the room, right? I'm not going to take the blocks out, put them back on racks, throw them in the other room, turn the heat up just to put them back. So I'm like, okay, I got to up the temperature in the entire grow room, right? And then drop the whole grow room back down. It's not going to hurt the things that are already fruiting, not the ones that I have in there anyway. I don't have kings in that room. Kings would not like going up like that. So that was the 3 things. The temperature, the humidity changed, again, not of my own doing. It just happened. I don't even know exactly how. I think the water level just got too low, even though it was still, misting up and all that. I guess it just wasn't enough. I don't know. So what happened? When I came in there, other than, my heart dropped because the humidity was too low, I'm looking around. There's brown stuff everywhere. It looks like someone went and sprayed like not BB, what do you call that? Paintball, like brown paintball stuff everywhere. There's just like brown splatters everywhere. What is it? It's from my shiitake. It's nothing but shiitake spores. Tons of shiitake spores. They've only been in there for like 2 days, 3 days. No, I don't know, 2, 3 days, whatever. Not that much time. But there's shiitake spores everywhere. It's all in the fans, and it's just raining down, and any bit of moisture that it comes in contact with, that's when it really shows. It just kind of splatters and it's wet and brown. So what's the big deal with that? Not a big deal, because all I can you know, clean and wash. I mean, that wouldn't even be fun doing that, but whatever. Um, my oyster mushrooms, totally covered in brown spore juice, or not even spore juice, just they're just like brown. So I'm like, because I gotta sell these things and they gotta look perfect, right? I'm not working with some Sizzler or some Red Lobster. Okay, I'm working with like the best of the best in Baltimore. Okay, so it's gotta look right. So I'm like, oh, and forget that they're brown. They're all like dried and cracked up and everything because of the humidity. So, it was one of those days. I'm just like, it's not a good day. Um, so what did I do? First thing I did is try to get the humidity straight. First thing. So I went. I have to add water. I add water, with 5 gallon buckets. I do that every day, and there's a reason. I know that I can do a drip system, and all that. I choose not to, and I've said before why I choose not to. I don't want to not be there, and something happens, and a float valve doesn't work, and then next thing I know, I've got this cabin that's overflowed with water. What I know is if all hell breaks loose and somehow water gets everywhere, the most amount of water that can ever be in that cabin is what's in that tote, okay? Which isn't all that much. The downside is that I gotta fill the damn thing at least once a day with 2 buckets of water. That's the trade-off, and that's my choice. So try to get the humidity under control, put the water in, saw the humidity is going up, so I'm like, all right, crisis one averted. The 2 new big fans that I got, I just turned them off. Just to kind of get things back to where they were, I cut them off. I don't think that they were the problem, but they for sure, that's not true. They weren't the problem with the humidity. What it did though is the fans were so strong that it did splatter all that shiitake spawn, every not spawn, sorry, shiitake spores everywhere. And those new fans are what got my oysters looking not so cute. Okay, I'm sure they weren't leggy at all. So I did solve, I think, the one problem with them being too leggy. Oh, they got plenty of air, but they also got sprayed the hell with spores, right? So it's like, again, you do something and then it has an effect on something else, right? Um, so going back to this whole fan issue and what all these videos and things are supposed to be, about is learning from our mistakes. When I say our, I mean, there's only a handful of mushroom growers on YouTube, right? And it's learning from all our mistakes. We're all different. TR now has a channel, Earth Angels Mushrooms. He is, I mean, he's such a wealth of knowledge. He's on a larger, forget larger scale. I mean, he's got 7,000 square feet. He's huge. He's like the mushroom encyclopedia. He knows everything about everything. I think it's been a while since he's been in a tiny grow like me. So everything is like recent, relevant experience for me because I'm just starting this. So that's kind of, my thing is working through all this kind of stuff. He's the guy, if you're trying to do a huge, grow, like that's who you need to be like listening to everything that he's saying. Listen to everything he says regardless, but some things, like I noticed yesterday for a video for him on his shiitake, which by the way, my shiitake blocks are his shiitake blocks and they're awesome. Highly recommend them. But he was talking about spraying his shiitakes with the hose and they like it really wet and they do. The problem is I can't spray mine with the hose. I can't, again, I can't have that much water. So what am I doing? I'm in there, even though my humidity is going up, I have a spray bottle and I'm spraying my little heart out to the point where this little finger right here, see this one right here? It's like, I mean, it needs some physical therapy right now because I literally went through like 2, 3 bottles, of a decent sized squirt bottle, just spraying them like that because that's the best that I could do. I can't do like a big old powered hose. So everything I think that all of us, me, TR, Eric, it used to be the Mush Farmer, but now they nixed his channel, which I think is totally jacked up, but whatever, YouTube. Um, every all of us have our own different experiences, and just because something works right for one person or one grow doesn't mean that it's going to work right for everyone. So that's always why I say blah 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 works for me in my grow. So like in Eric's, his couple of hurricane fans work for him. It doesn't work for me. at least not in full, not in totality. I have my hurricane fan that goes and disperses water over my water source to get all that humidity out. And then I do have a couple that are crossed, but it still wasn't enough. I was still getting leggy oysters in some parts of the grow. All right. If I had leggy oysters in all parts of the grow, it would mean that, yeah, there's something wrong with my exhaust. I don't have enough exhaust, but I know that's not the case. It's just that little air pocket of space, and I can feel it. There's nothing happening there. It's like I'm in my own little dead zone. So that's why I brought in the fans. But those fans solved that problem, but then created another one. So what am I going to do in the end? What am I learning from this so I can wrap it up? So I'm saying, damn, it's 15 minutes. I try to keep these under 10. Homework. Oh. The moral of the story for me is I know now how many damn spores that shiitake produce, which is crazy because I've had my small grow completely filled with shiitake before. I don't ever remember it being like, I don't know. I don't know what the difference is. And that's probably a TR question. Maybe I might get him to actually post a comment below. I don't know. I don't know why previously in my small grow, I barely see, spores. I don't see them as much in there. I keep the humidity way high, and maybe that's why. Maybe I saw them more, and it's everywhere because the humidity went down. I don't freaking know. I honestly don't know. What I do know is this sister is not putting shiitake in my big grow anymore for a multitude of reasons. It's only going to go in that small grow from here on out if I can help it, because I can't afford there being brown spores raining down upon my oysters, messing up my money for next week. Ain't happening. So lesson learned. And yeah, trying out new fans, new this or that. You have to try new things, but you shouldn't go 30 hours or 36 hours without checking on it, which is what I did. Because again, I was skiing today, getting my Lindsey Vonn on. So I should have checked it last night before I went to bed, or I should have checked it this morning, and I probably wouldn't have had the problem that I have. So I hope this is helpful. I do. I hope it was helpful. If it was, give it a thumbs up, subscribe. I do have other videos that I've done, and I'm probably going to post another one right after this, that are really much more put together. But I had to do this one while it was fresh in my mind. So take care, stay fabulous, get some wine because I know I'm about to dive in.